we want to talk about this because now I got to be honest. And I was never like wholly against it, like, oh, that's a terrible idea or whatever. But I kind of am liking the play-in. You know, I mean, it's kept like the Lakers. Let's look at the standings. They're 5.5 games out of 8th. So they'd be done, right? If we didn't have the play-in,
but they should be in the mix. Chris, I'm surprised you're saying you like the play-in.
Yep.
Because it's bottom barrel teams that don't deserve to be in the playoffs. The Spurs, the Pelicans, the Lakers. They haven't played or earned anything. All we've talked about all year is how bad the Lakers have been, and they shouldn't be in the mix for a playoff spot. I couldn't disagree with you more.
No, I got no problem with it.
I just think it's ridiculous. Teams under 500 should make the playoffs.
Well, they're making the play in.
Yeah, but what are they playing in for?
The Clippers are going to make the playoffs. They're under 500.
Didn't we just make?
Or I should say they're in the top 8. They may not. They
might be at 500.
Now they're under 500. But I'm saying they're the playoffs. The only teams that are definitely making the playoffs are the top 6 seeds. After that, you got to play your way in. So that's what I mean by them not definitely being in the playoffs. But I like it. I'm fine with it. It adds excitement, and like these games, this part of the season still means a lot. You got the Lakers still playing for something. You got the Pelicans playing for something. Yeah, and same thing in the Eastern
Conference. It's phony
Conference.
Baloney though. It ain't really.
Not to me. Not to me.
They're not playing. They haven't played well enough to be in the postseason.
a lot of the teams that are in the play-in, Rob, their injuries have hurt them. I mean, the Nets are freaking in the 8th seed. The Nets could be a 9th or 10th seed team. We know they're good enough. It would be if they could finish 9th. In fact, if they lose tonight, Charlotte will be ahead of them, or they'll be tied with Charlotte. I don't know who has the tiebreaker. I think it might be Charlotte, but we know why they would be in the play-in, because they've been injured. Lakers, you can argue about whether or not, why they're where they're at, but certainly if they were healthy, they wouldn't be this low.
They were in the play-in last year, right? The Lakers.
Yeah, and again, health was a big issue, but. So I like it because this part of the season still means a lot, and the teams have a lot to play for. And so it's been good. But what I said all that to say, who do you think, and it might be obvious, but who do you think is the most dangerous team in the play-in? And let me give you the 8 right now. In the East, you got, let's start with the West because we'll go by conference. In the West, the 4 teams in the play-in right now, Rob: Minnesota, the Clippers, New Orleans, and the Lakers. Of those 4,
wait a minute,
who do you think is the most?
So you don't have the Nets in there?
No, I'm saying we're going by conference.
Oh, okay.
So in the West, it's Minnesota, the L.A. Clippers, New Orleans Pelicans, and the L.A. Lakers. Of those 4, who do you think is the most dangerous?
I think the Clippers. Only because of what we saw a year ago. And Paul George, what a great return for him, Chris, right? Missing 3 months or whatever it was. Big comeback win. He put up big numbers. I mean, that was impressive. And we've seen them without Kawhi, Chris. We've seen them come back and win series. And when Kawhi went down in that Utah series, everybody thought their goose was cooked. And they still won and beat Utah, came back in that series. And then I know they lost to the Suns in the Western Conference Finals, but they made it there without their star player. Their franchise had never done it. I like the way Ty Lue, I know I'm a Ty Lue guy and I'm going to not get crazy about him, but I think the Clippers are.
I would agree with Paul George. And you might even, of those teams, you could argue the Clippers even without him, but I probably would say the Lakers. If it weren't for the Clippers, I'd probably say the Lakers since AD will be back. But I'm still going to go the Clippers because Paul George will be back, and he's already back and playing well. And there's a slight chance. I'm not counting on it because I don't think it's going to happen. But there is a slight chance that Kawhi could play. And so that really would make them dangerous.
Is that the scuttlebutt?
Slight, yes. Slight. I mean, I don't expect it, but it's possible. Let's put it that way. But I don't think it's going to happen. But I agree. I think the Clippers are dangerous. And I honestly, I don't think they've beaten the Suns. But if they got Memphis with Paul George, I think you'd have to give them a good shot. To be honest, if they get anybody, Rob, anybody other than Phoenix with Paul George, I think you gotta like their chances, especially for an underdog, you know?
No, I agree. And they've been through it the last 2 years, Chris, coming back. Right. They've been in a lot of playoff games, big games, and they've done some good stuff. I mean, they can honestly, I think, feel like they're never out of anything because of what they've been able to do. Like, when they come back, 3-1 in 3 straight series? What was it?
Yeah, I don't know if the exact, but yeah.
I think they did. Last year, I think they were down 3-1 in all 3 of the series.
Well, not 3 straight.
No, two of them.
Right.
Two of them. Right. The first 2, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can win the West. It's not without Kawhi. I don't think Paul George is leading them to the Western Conference Finals. The Western Conference title. But they can be a dangerous team and ruin some opponents' seasons. And so I would say the Clippers in the West, and Rob, the score at the end of 3 quarters, I believe, is 87-86, the Bucks. They just took the lead, and the Nets have led for most of the game, pretty much all of it except early in the first quarter at some points.
And the spread, I told you, was Nets -2, so they were expecting a close game. Nets -2, yeah.
All right, in the East, these are the 4 teams right now in the play-in. Cleveland, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Atlanta. This one's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think it's obvious because of Durant and Kyrie. And the other thing, too, Chris, I think if you're one of those teams like 8th, first seed or second, and you're playing the Nets in the first round,
they could beat anybody.
I think that you would look and go, I don't. Is that the matchup? Is that who we got? You know what I mean?
It would be. You'd hate. I mean, look. Obviously, you go in it confident, but yeah, that'd be a nightmarish matchup for anybody. Nightmarish matchup for anybody. And so, even the Milwaukee, you don't want to have to deal with that in the first round. So yeah, I agree. Obviously, I mean, I think everybody would agree. Brooklyn, the most dangerous team in the Eastern Conference play-in, and I would say in the play-in overall. Last year, I told you about their numbers in the playoffs improved incredibly defensively. And so they have the capabilities to defend if they want to, if they put their mind to it. And they're actually defending well tonight. And so, Brooklyn clearly the most dangerous team in the play-in. All right.